Good morning, humanities classes. This is Mr. Griffin, and I am here to provide you with an example of how to respond to a reading question using a previously taught skill called Pqpa, which stands for part of the question is part of the answer. I'm simply going to model this through question 1 of your chapter 9 reading questions, and the question reads, who was Nat Turner and what was the Turner Revolt or Rebellion? And the idea of Pqpa is that I am going to recycle as many of the words as possible from the question and include them in the answer. And the reason that we're going to do this is because, number one, it helps you not only write a complete sentence, but it helps you ensure that you are responding directly to the question being asked. So if we take this question, who is Nat Turner and what was the Turner Revolt or the Rebellion? And I go back to the text. If you remember yesterday, I modeled actually how to annotate this portion of the text by circling Nat Turner and underlining the relevant information. So I'm simply going to go back to that in order to answer the question. And I simply go back and I see, okay, Nat Turner had led a revolt, and he was a preacher who believed God had chosen him to free the slaves. So I'm going to take these words here to start and say, and I'll highlight them for you so that you understand the words I'm using, and simply write Nat Turner was, using those words, and I'm going to go right back to text. He's a preacher who believed God had chosen him to free the slaves. Okay, and so now I've answered the first part of that question, and so I want to answer the second part. And when I go to answer the second part, I know I'm supposed to be entertaining this part of the question. So again, just for your visual purposes, I'll highlight it and show you how I recycle those words. And so the second part of the question asks, what was the Turner Revolt or Rebellion? So I'm going to reuse those words and say the Turner Revolt. Oh, excuse me, got to spell it right. Or rebellion. And I should probably capitalize all of this because it is a proper noun. Is, borrowing those words from the question, and I'm going right back to the text. And so it's when he and his followers killed 55 whites before they were captured and killed. Okay. And so that answers the question. I'm going to just go a step further and add a little bit more information because I think it's important to understand the consequence of his actions. So 100, gotta spell that right again, blacks were slaughtered in the search for Turner. Okay, so there's some additional information that not just tells you what he did in his revolt, but what some of the consequences for that were. And I'm going to summarize a little bit. The last sentence in the text is the killings on both sides, meaning on the sides of blacks and whites at the time, were too much for decent people to accept. And so I'm going to sort of distill that in my own words and say this rebellion pushed us closer to war because people could not accept so much violence. Okay, so there we have a pretty thorough response to the question, who was Nat Turner and what was the Turner Revolt or Rebellion? And so we're going to post this on the website, and please use it as a reference point, not only to understand how you answer reading questions using Pqpa, or part of the question is part of the answer, but also how to thoroughly answer a reading question. You know, a few words, an incomplete sentence is not what we're looking for. A thorough response such as this one is. So enjoy your reading and question answering, and use this as a reference. Thanks so much.